How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Boylite Hobby Time. This week I decided to build a diorama inspired by the video game Outer Wilds. I really enjoy this game. I think it's a fun and captivating gameplay experience. Not really any game like it that I've ever played, so I'd highly recommend checking it out. To start off this build, I measured out some 1/8 inch brass pipe, and I cut that. This will act as the standoff to hold the planet up in the air. It'll also be the conduit that gets the wires to the campfire. Using the little tube cutter does bend in the edges a little, so as not to strip the wires, I use some needle nose pliers to help bring back the original shape a little bit. For the campfire, I am using these electric tea light candles. These, you can buy a box of them for next to nothing at the hobby store. They have a built-in flickering effect and they look great as campfires or torches or things like that. The rest of the tea light candle will be under the base, as will this switch, so I drilled a hole for that and I will be putting everything in there later. Once I had all the wiring figured out, I glued the planet in place. I taped the wires to make sure that they didn't fall back through. I then sanded the whole thing down. I probably should have done that first, but when that was done, I used my thumb to create some little craters to make it look a little bit more like a planet, or a moon, I guess. Then I took a mixture of plaster and Mod Podge and a little bit of water, mixed it up to a nice thick pasty consistency, and I smeared it all over. After the plaster was all dry, I primed it with a flat gray primer, and I moved on to painting the little astronaut. I found this astronaut at the hobby store near my house, and it came with a little satellite spaceship thing, which is one of the worst quality models I've ever put together. I was intending to use that and this together, but that did not pan out, so decided to go a different direction and turn this astronaut into the Outer Wilds astronaut. The dimensions are a little off because the character you play as in Outer Wilds is not a human. They are an alien of some kind. So the dimensions are a little off, but I was able to pretty much match the color palette. There's a lot of patchwork and fun little details on the alien. The design of the game is just really, really fun. It's like camping vibes, but in outer space. I'm really happy with the way that this astronaut turned out. It was a fun little paint job. After that, I moved on to the terrain. I had considered leaving it as a barren, rocky moon, because it did look pretty good that way, but decided that because one of the design features of the game is the trees and the grass on these little planets in a very inhospitable space, decided to incorporate that into the planet, make it a little bit more interesting, and I'm glad I did. One of the things about this game that I just think elevates it to another level is the score. It was written by a guy named Andrew Prowlow, and he did a fantastic job with the music. I don't know if I've ever played a game where the visuals are so well reinforced by what you're hearing. This is true of multiple points in the game, but especially the ending. The visuals combined with the music are really, really well done. If you can get to the end, I would highly recommend playing this game. After that, I added a few logs around the campfire, and it was time to move on to the spaceship. Just like the astronaut's spacesuit, this ship is kind of patched together in a way. It's got wooden panels and tubes and things that look like they just shouldn't be flying around in outer space, which is part of the appeal of this game. Just their kind of clever design choices. I found this file on Thingiverse from a user named Sandman0077. I will put the link to it in the description if you are curious. Next, I soldered the LED in place. It's nice because the LED flickers without any need for a chip or anything like that. I wired it up to the original battery housing, but I did run it through a new toggle switch. I then added a little bit of hot glue to help mimic the flames, and I glued the models in place. Once that was done, I called it good. That is it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. I did launch a Patreon last week. In case you're interested in that, I have some behind the scenes things and some digital downloads. I will link that below if you're curious about it. Otherwise, have a great week. I will see you next time.